Hi, I'm Tom, and I've never seen the Titanic, but I have seen The Room at least 3 times.
And I'm Sean, and I think Forrest Gump is fine. There, I said it.
And this is Flicks and Flops, the podcast where we watch movies, talk nonsense.
And pretend to know what we're doing.
Grab your snacks, lower your expectations, and let's ruin some cinema together.
Because nothing says film analysis like two friends arguing over whether Nicolas Cage is a genius or just bored.
And welcome back to another episode of Flicks and Flops. Sean and I are in a slightly different location here at the Chunkies than last time we were in the theater. Now we're kind of in like the secret back room, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny, right? They have that Backrooms movie coming out right now, and we are quite literally in a backroom. So, like, really embodying cinema right now. But now we have a lot of cool memorabilia in here. A whole like DVD rack behind me too, which is crazy. Physical media in 2026.
You don't see much of that anymore.
Really. But we ended up seeing Crime 101 here the other night, and I'd say for a movie that like all things considered was like a little low profile in the marketing. I mean, I did see a lot of trailers pop up in the last month, but like it wasn't like a movie everyone was like super raving about. Really good. I mean, I'd call it a flick off the bat, a flawed one, but we'll get into it. What was your take?
I thought it was a flick for sure, but there are just too many issues that I had with the movie. Like it's not something I would go out and highly recommend to somebody. It's more of just something I'd say, well, if you happen to be at a theater or when it goes to streaming, if you just are scrolling through HBO Max or something and you see it, I'd put it on, but it's not something I would go actively out of my way to see. I mean, I didn't know what to think of it when we first were going into the movie.
Yeah.
I saw like one trailer for it and I didn't really know what the vibe was.
Mm-hmm.
Great cast, a lot of really, really good actors and actresses in it, but it just felt like at times the movie was too predictable. Like there was multiple points during the movie we'd look over at each other and be like, "Oh, this is what's going to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're going to say this." And it just kind of takes away from the movie as a whole when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say probably the best part is how you call it like connecting the vignettes, like because obviously we get introduced to all these different characters and different points of LA that eventually intersect. There definitely were points where you're kind of like, how are they going to make them intersect? Like, especially when it comes to Mark Ruffalo's character and Halle Berry, I'm like, how the fuck are they connecting this? And you get like halfway in the movie, his unfaithful wife, Jennifer Jason Leigh, who was great in Fargo and great in other stuff, he's like, "Yeah, you're cheating on me forever. I'm out." And they meet at yoga on the beach. Like it's like the most random way. I mean,
It's
granted,
the LA lifestyle though.
like Chris Hemsworth having like some dude hack into like her Microsoft calendar and like end up at. Did he go to? I forget where they met. No, they didn't go to yoga.
No,
They
he
met
he
at
met
like.
her at like this what do you call him, valet?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like some restaurant.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's doing the whole thing of like, I don't know, it weirdly reminded me of I Think You Should Leave with Bob Odenkirk, where he's like, I own every kind of classic car. They were kind of doing like
Yeah.
that a little bit,
A
where
little bit.
they start talking about classic cars, and in my head I can just hear, I own triples of the Barracuda, triples of the Nova, and triples of the Roadrunner. Like I hear it going, but
Yeah.
I think speaking of Chris Hemsworth, I thought he was really good in this movie. He was in a role that's
Mhm.
very different than what he typically does.
Yeah.
Usually he's a very like self-assured, macho kind of guy. And it
Or
like
he's a meathead.
or he's a
It's
meathead.
kind of in between.
Ooh.
It's either like he's like super confident, like charming Australian dude, meathead. I mean, I will say one role where I mean, Thor is kind of a mix of those, and I think some of his best acting is as Thor, but also some of his worst acting is as Thor. But I also think that's also a nature of like how the tone of the Thor movies has been literally all over the fucking place.
Oh yeah.
But I will say the first glimpses I had of him kind of doing, and granted it was a different kind of role, but I don't know if you saw Furiosa, Mad Max
Yeah.
Furiosa. He, I forget the name, like whatever his name was, Vile, whatever. Like he played a psychopath, really good in that. Like
Yeah.
very different.
With the prosthetic nose.
But this one, he plays the complete like very unassured, like I mean, badass killer. Don't get me wrong, but not a killer though.
Yeah, see, that's a great aspect that they had to it, that he's this like really insecure person, right? And it's
Mhm.
like when you first see him in the movie, they introduce you by him going on this heist. and he's holding people up. He's putting people in cars and everything. And you're like, wow, he's got to be such a badass. Later in the movie, he gets into a car accident and he's super uncomfortable. Where like this woman, he looks at her car and he's like, I see you have a baby seat in the back. Do you have kids? And it's like super weird. This woman's like, no, you're this like fucking weird stranger asking me if I have children. Like, no, leave me alone. But I think the movie, like the idea behind the movie is it's all these different stories that connect with each other. You know, you have Mark Ruffalo as like the, grizzled up detective, the cop who's like, oh man, I'm so washed and everyone in the department hates me. Like that stereotypical
Like
role.
you were the goat.
Yeah.
Like, got upset
Used to be
one
so
day,
good.
and you let it ruin your career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to be so good, man. Like that
Yeah.
kind of
It's
thing.
giving Angel Batista for sure.
Yeah.
It's giving, yeah.
So it's like it has that kind of vibe to it but he's going in as that detective hunting down Chris Hemsworth, who's this jewel thief who does the whole like lone wanderer kind of thing where it's always the same MO. He always hits up and down what is it, 101
yeah.
in California.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Gimmick that like he grew up along it and he follows like a pattern and he doesn't go like in an exactly linear route, like he goes north and south, but like it is a linear route. And of course there's like that one scene, and there are some scenes where I'm like, this movie's so dope, and there were some scenes where it was cheesy, and this one of the scenes that I thought was cheesy in addition to the car one you just said, because to your point, one of the things that takes me out of it, I mean, I do like his relationship with the girl he gets in the car crash with, but it's also like, how the fuck does she not think he's a fucking weirdo? Like, why? How is she into this?
Yeah, that's one thing that really kind of started taking me out of the movie is they get into the car accident and she's like, oh, give me your information. He's like, no, I don't want to. And I'm like, that's weird already. And she
Well,
says it's weird.
Yeah, well, that's also because you got to remember, I mean, he's a criminal.
Yeah, he probably doesn't even have anything.
Yeah.
So then he's like, how about this? And he gives her like $6,000 in cash. And she even says when she gets into the car, she's like, who the hell carries $6,000 in cash?
Yeah.
But then she continues to be like, oh, this is fine. She gives him her number. And then he later texts her and he's like, do you want to get dinner? And she goes, yes. I'm like, I just can't wrap my head around that.
He's hot, and he's Chris.
It's one of those movies where they're like, you ignore it because he's attractive.
But also, like, I can fix it.
Yeah, and it's like, it gets to be super weird when she goes to his apartment and there's no photos of family, no photos of himself, and all the furniture is like staged furniture, like very much I am a serial killer vibes. And she literally says like, oh, you don't have any photos of family? He's like, nope. It's like all super, and she goes, what, do you have photos of your family like in a drawer with their skin? And he's like, no. And then they just don't talk about how weird that is.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I thought that they didn't really flesh that part out.
Because some of their relationship is also like off screen. Like there's like a part where you don't see them for a minute, and then like they're at some when he figures out that Barry Keoghan is up to shit, like they're at some what do you call it? Oh no, actually when she posts the photo of her at the beach when he's like to Halle Berry's like, okay.
Yeah.
So Halle Berry, he like ropes Halle Berry in. Halle Berry's like
She's like a high-powered person in like a insurance company.
Insurance, yeah, for like high net worth individuals. So
Yeah.
like, obviously you have like this douchebag and his like younger fiance, and they're like, the party favors for their wedding, of course, are like $5 million.
Yeah.
$5
An
million
absolute shitload of money.
Yeah, just like the true. It's interesting. The movie doesn't focus on it too much, but it really has a nice contrast of like kind of the opulence of LA and then like the seediness of LA. It kind of like goes between. So he basically inserts herself into her life as, first kind of like this kindred spirit of like, oh, we like cars, we like art, yada, yada. But then it's actually, I very much put myself in your life because I basically like pseudo blackmail / pseudo like pitch the idea of like, fuck your bosses, let's make money type of shit. Which I will say with the first heist in the movie, I'm not sure if that guy was involved at all. The one at the jewelry store.
I mean,
like the guy
he kind of hints that like he is involved with some of the other people at the insurance company, because he says at one point like, oh, so and so, like the person that always tells Halle Berry like, oh, you're gonna make partner for sure, and then he's like, haha, just kidding, you're not. He's like, oh, how do you think he made partner in like 4 years? Like he kind of hints where he's like, I know, he says his name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Yeah, we'll call him douchebag. So he's like, douchebag made partner in like 4 years. How do you think that happened? So he's like, it's very much like all these people are seedy and sketchy, and they're doing the wrong thing.
That's interesting. You think
Yeah.
about it. That's how some of these insurance people built up because they basically like almost scared the clients into.
Yeah.
Okay,
So he's
I
like
didn't
very
even-
much. Yeah.
I caught that line, but I didn't even think about it that way.
He's very much involved in it, and I like that like little hint that he's like, I'm also just as bad as these people.
Yeah.
But I do like one
Which
thing.
I've
Yeah. It's,
called, which I will say, like Halle Berry basically does like the
pop off queen.
like the literally me like, oh, you hate your boss, you want to tell your boss everything you hate about them, here you go. Like she has that moment, but it's not cheesy though, because like she earned it. Like you see like the amount of shit she goes through, and like granted, like she's the greatest at her job in the movie, but I also think all of them are kind of washed up to a degree.
Yeah.
Like even Chris Hemsworth, he's getting kind of tired of like
He's like, it's my one last score, my big score before I go to Tahiti.
he's getting tired of it. Mark Ruffalo's been on the chase for him for forever and is like not giving up, but like he's super washed and it's like starting to like cost him relationships and
His wife has abandoned him.
yeah, and she hasn't. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that until right now. Like all of them are basically washed up, and that
Yeah.
leads to them pulling like the shit that basically.
They're all
drives
just
of
like,
them-
man, we all need one more score. All of us combined.
Yeah, literally. And of course, you have RFK, aka Nick Nolte, guiding.
Okay, I didn't realize that was Nick Nolte until you said something. I was like, why? Who is this guy? He talks like this in the movie. I was like, I was like, I can't understand what he's saying. Like that really took me out. And then when you're like, dude, it's Big Nolte from The Wire, I'm like, oh my god, what? I was like, there's no way. And you looked it up, and it is.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's insane. He's aged so
When
poorly.
he's 85.
I mean, that
Not even, like, it's funny because I think he was in Drive too, which was like in 2011, and he looked fucking old as hell in that.
well, it's one of those things. Like I'm watching The Wire now, so to me, I'm like, how is he that much older? I'm like, wait, The Wire's also, yeah. Or oh, no, wait, I'm thinking of the character Mick Nolte from The Wire.
That's McNulty.
Yeah.
That's Nick Nolte.
Oh my god, I was thinking of someone totally different. Okay, I was like, that. Why did he age so poorly? I have no idea who you're talking about.
You know, I'm looking up, man. Yeah, flicks and flops. We're always gonna have one major film snafu that makes you wonder, like, why the fuck did these guys think they can have a podcast about movies? But we always redeem ourselves. We always do.
You do, I don't.
You do. But anyways, so like he gets Barry Keoghan involved, and there's like a hint that Barry Keoghan's dad is like formerly involved. He's like, your dad was the best. And like literally, I'm not even kidding. This is how Nick Nolte talks, which like he had a gruff voice before, but like, bro, I don't know what the fuck happened to him in like the 10 years since I've seen him in a movie. I mean, him being in this is such a random choice. But
It's a decision.
but they picked, I don't know, they did pick some like interesting character actors for this, and that's what I think makes it work. Like we don't have too many characters in it. Like obviously we have like the main, like each character probably has like, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 other people in their lives, like in their vignette, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it all kind of ties in and makes sense. And then eventually we get to the point where, you know, Barry Keoghan is starting to like fuck up Chris Hemsworth thing, because Chris Hemsworth is like, you know, I'm kind of done with this. This is getting like a little more violent than I
It's like I
expected.
just need that little bit of money, that number in my head to get out of this.
But the thing is, what's interesting though is that Barry Keoghan, in spite of being psycho and all this shit, he's like, in a way, like Chris Hemsworth is he's very confident in his work.
Yeah.
He's not self-assured in his personal life. Whereas Barry Keoghan is very confident in his social life of being a psycho,
Yeah.
but he's a nervous fucking wreck during his crimes. Like he bungles that fucking hype.
Oh, the
First
first
heist.
one he does.
He bungles.
Yeah,
it
he's
so
a
bad.
mess.
He's like, oh, there's a baby. The baby.
He's like, shut the fuck up, baby.
Like literally freaks out. Like I knew the one thing I knew was gonna happen is when he hits the button, I like, oh, he's taking too long to get to the fucking door.
Yeah. I did love that moment though. Of like, he gets to the door's not working. I thought he was just gonna break the glass and walk out, but then he's
I
like,
know.
dude, open the fucking door.
I'm like shocked, but because at that point he had already broken some of the. so
Yeah,
alarms
like what's the
going off,
difference?
right?
But you know what?
Like-
I will say, we haven't really touched upon it too much. We just touched upon his character. But
Mhm.
Barry Keoghan in this movie is unbelievably good
Oh.
and plays an amazing psycho. And I actually wrote in my notes that I cannot wait for him as Joker in DC because I feel like that's actually going to work so well. He played that deeply unsettling person. Like
Yeah.
his role in this movie is he is just a straight up psychopath. He like loves violence. That's his thing.
He's making a big transition towards that because, like, if you remember him in Dunkirk, he's like the unself-assured kid who fucking
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy like fucking accidentally hits, then he like hits the fucking top of the boat and dies or whatever. But he's playing. Barry Keoghan's gonna be playing Tommy Shelby's son in the new
Huh.
Peaky Blinders. Who, if he plays it anything like the kid who played it in the show does, because obviously it takes place like.
Yeah.
I think I'll be even more convinced of like how he'd be as a Joker because he was barely in the actual Batman movie.
Yeah.
But
It's like a split
in the
second.
deleted scene though, where he kind of explains like the MO of the Riddler to Batman,
Yeah.
he was fucking great in that deleted scene. I'm like so sad they took it out of the movie, but like I think they took it out because that it was so good, but it was a show don't tell, and like he basically
Yeah.
keep it going in that sort of sense. But he was great. I mean, everyone brings their A game in this. I mean, like Ruffalo is kind of typecast as
Yeah.
like he definitely he does a good job. I mean, like I wouldn't say it's like one of his best, like with Zodiac and like Spotlight. Like those are movies where like he's really good. But he is solid in this.
Yeah. I mean, he shows up and does his job.
And you're kind of like a critic of.
Yeah.
I think you have more of an appreciation for.
I think he shows up and he does his job in a decent way. I'm not the hugest Mark Ruffalo fan. In fact, usually in a lot of the stuff, I don't love him in it because, like I said, he does get typecast into a lot of things, right? It's
He's
that
like
same
quirky guy or like
Yeah.
or like
Yeah, and it's like,
yeah.
and when I see him, I'm like, okay, it's him, and he's gonna do the same shtick he always kind of does, but he does a good job in this. Like he brings it. It's not like he's phoning it in. You know, it's not just him showing up for the paycheck. He showed up and he did his job, and he had some pretty convincing moments in the movie. I think sometimes the dialogue kind of works against them in a way. Like
Yeah.
there's some good moments, and then there's some really like bad moments. Like in the car, there's a whole moment where it's Mark Ruffalo and Chris Hemsworth, and they like don't know that the other is kind of like onto each other.
Basically swap places.
Yeah. And they're doing this whole thing where they're in the car and it's supposed to be this tense moment. And instead it's like them going back and forth, like hinting that they know each other. Yeah, it was very much like a does he know moment. And then they had that whole thing where they're like, oh, like Chris Hemsworth is like, oh, I love Steve McQueen movies. You know, like they're my favorite. I love them. And he goes, what's your favorite? And then Mark Ruffalo goes, the Thomas Crown Affair. I'm like, because I get it. You're hinting that you know that he's the thief.
But like, that's one thing I have with this movie. It goes from like really sharp dialogue to like ham-fisted shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, dude, like, come on, have some consistency to that. I mean, obviously, like, I'd say from a tonal perspective, the movie stays always kind of in this like, it's a heightened world of like, you know, shit happen. Like it's plausible enough, but also there's always like this twinge of like the seediness, the quirkiness, but sometimes it seems like that where it's like it's almost like, damn, this is like too on the note.
Yeah, it feels like they kind of just like didn't know what to do, so they're like, okay, we just got to fill some of this more space. We're almost done. We're so close.
It's funny too because, and you have to see the show Task, but
it's on my list now.
In Task, there's a scene basically the same thing where Mark Ruffalo is finally face to face with the guy he's been hunting like forever, and they're like in a car in a similar scenario, like basically, you know, entrapped in the situation together. In that case, they know each other, but like they also don't know each other as well, and it's just done way better in Task than it was in this. That was like one of the only, I think, really weak scenes in the movie for me. Like a lot of it really, I was really engrossed for a good chunk of the movie. It's just like when it did some of the, like you put it, some of the pacing was just out there. Like especially like the relationship between Chris Hemsworth and the girl. It's like I get how they're fleshing out how like he's lonely and how he's like starting to.
This is his way out, kind of thing. Yeah,
but it's like, okay, this is taking like 5 more minutes longer than it needs to be. I mean,
yeah.
This recently, it was like every movie nowadays is like just a half an hour.
Yeah, and it's like I don't mind 2 hours in a movie, but it needs to make sense, right? And I think if all these movies now, they just chopped out like 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, they'd be borderline masterpieces. It's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's so close to being in that point where you're like, this is a great movie, but just the pacing of it
Mhm.
makes it suffer. You know, it's like that whole thing where they go from, oh, like these high tense action scenes and car chases to then all of a sudden it's just like really slowed down. Like it's like someone pulled their emergency brake,
Yeah.
right? And it's like now you get to see Chris Hemsworth be super awkward with this girl that never, that at the end of the movie, this is another problem I have, is the end of the movie ties things up too neatly for a movie of what
Mhm.
it's trying to be. You know, it's like at the end of the movie, he finds the girl leaves and he's like, oh, well, Chris Hemsworth, you know, gets out scot free. And then he finds the girlfriend wherever she moved to. And he is like, as pretends to be like the delivery man and then gives her a picture of him and his brothers and writes on the back, he's like, oh, like I do have.
Was him as the delivery man?
I think it was. They didn't show his face, so I'm like, I think they were trying to do it. It looked like a jacked
Oh,
guy.
really? I didn't.
He looked jacked, and I was like, "There's no way
That
this
makes
delivery man
sense
is
why
jacked."
she ran after.
Yeah,
Because I was wondering, like, okay, like, why is she like running toward? I figured it would be like a phone call, but no, you're definitely right.
because they do this whole weird thing though. She gets like that photo, and then he's like, "Oh, if it's not too late," and then she chases after him, and it fades to, or no, then they go to the cops, so they go to Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo gets like one of the cars that Chris Hemsworth, one of his classic cars.
The
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you take it, you get it." I'm like, the cops just okay with this illegal car, but whatever. And then as he's driving
that's
away,
actually legally bought.
oh yeah, he's got it registered. But as he's driving away, it fades to white, and that's the movie. I'm like, really? That's what we're doing?
Well, it felt kind of weird that he's the one that gets the fade away moment when like Halle Berry and Chris Hemsworth, you kind of like don't know. Which like I get it. I mean, I don't need some like five Toy Story shit. Them being like, and they all ended up happily together. But, like,
Or like Return of the King, where it's got 5 different endings, and you're like,
yeah.
holy shit, is this movie almost over? Don't get me wrong, I love Lord of the Rings, but like every single time when I first showed it to Shed, she was like, it's done now, right? And I was like, no, there's like another hour of endings.
But like for a movie that's seedy and like also kind of has this thing of like, yeah, these guys will probably end up all right, but like there's not always like happy endings.
Yeah.
It kind of has a happy ending.
I just don't, it doesn't fit in with the whole vibe of the movie. Cause I like to think of, you know, when you're trying to end something like how Game of Thrones ended, right? Atrocious ending because that doesn't fit with what the vibe of the show is. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
they do this happy ending. Everyone's happy. Everything turns out so well. The good guys are victorious. Yay! Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like that doesn't work when your whole thing is political intrigue and backstabbing. And then you go to a movie like this where it's like all seedy underground stuff. There's like they're clearly hinting that there's a network of people who commit crimes to rob other people. And there's like a courier for it, kind of. And it's like, why are you hinting at that? And then all of a sudden it's a everyone's fine, everything's happy, we're good
and
ending.
that's the thing with Nick Nolte's character too, is that like they, like you say, they kind of hint at this like bigger criminal network, like they always have like buyers, but we never see that. And I will say that wasn't the point. Like if this, it wasn't that kind of movie. It was always character driven. I don't know. I mean, in the same, I definitely had gone in the same tangent in a couple of our other reviews, but like stuff like that, stuff like the half an hour we could perceive cutting it out. If those things were expanded upon or cut out, we might not have liked it as much. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, then that's just the thing with cinema. Like, the way the product turns out is how it is. And I mean, if there's a director's cut, then cool. But like, I felt like with this one, the guy was very in his bag, and I mean, he had done another movie with Gary Keegan that like wasn't like super big, but I know was like decently acclaimed, and this is like doing pretty good as far as like reception wise is
Yeah.
concerned.
I mean, not to say it's a bad movie. You know, it's a good movie. It's competently made. It has all the right aspects to it. It just could be cleaned up in some spots.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's worth a watch, but it's not one that I'm like gonna probably circle back to.
Yeah. I mean, there's some other things like minor gripes that I really have is like at the beginning of the movie when they're doing Chris Hemsworth driving to the destination to get to like the robbery. When he first is getting the guy to put in his trunk, how he does it is he cuts the guy off in a certain spot and he like opens his trunk and just like, turns the car off. And the dude gets out of his car to go over and investigate what's going on with Hemsworth's car. And I'm like, no logical person would ever, like, if you were in this situation, right? Let's say you're driving. And for anyone else watching this, say you're driving and somebody just stops in front of you and you're alone. It's the dead of night. Somebody stops in front of you.
They got the emergency.
They got the emergency on. Then all of a sudden the lights turn off and the trunk pops open. Would you walk over to the car to be like, do you need assistance?
Oh yeah, no, like the guy's clue, like, oh, he just needs me to help with the time.
Yeah, and then he just is like,
Like-
pulls a gun on him. I'm like, well, yeah, no shit.
No
You were asking to get robbed. Like,
I mean, I for one have seen too many videos on TikTok of people trying to do that. Guy like me, I would just drive away. No, I'd probably get shot and put it in the trunk as well. But still, like, what the fuck?
I wouldn't just get out of the car and be like, let me go help this man. It's like, that is, there's something clearly wrong with that situation.
Yeah.
So it's like some of the choices that characters make in this movie, I'm like, for a movie that's trying to be grounded in as much detail and realism as they're trying to do it in, especially for scenes where they're like, oh, this, like, Chris Hemsworth always cuts the, like, camera feed just before he does it. He always does this. There's no witnesses. For a man who's, like, everything is so meticulous about this, but then to leave that up to chance
Yeah.
is kind of weird, and also is not a normal human reaction to have. It's not a normal human thing to be like, let me go do this. Because it's just weird. No one would do that.
Yeah.
So things like that tend to take me out of movies because I'm like,
Mhm.
all right, I know, I get it. Sense of, a suspension of belief and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, there's also like this like element of, okay, like he had to do what he had to do to survive growing up. Like he was in a foster home, yada yada. Like he kind of has a relationship with her, the foster mom, but like not really. But I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm glad that we dive right into the action. We don't get like the whole backstory of how he ends up doing this and like being how he is. But
What's his story?
what was his arc?
Yeah.
Yeah. Noah had an arc. But anyways, so I mean, on a core level, I think a lot of it had me engrossed. It's just every now and again there were these moments where I'm kind of, what are we doing here? Like, why are we veering from this? And sometimes it works when they veer away from it, and just sometimes it doesn't. And I mean, that's just the nature of things. I mean, definitely a solid movie, very much worth the watch. I mean, kind of a really good like I hadn't seen Halle Berry in anything in forever, and like this is so
Catwoman?
she got her career like borderline derailed by Catwoman, and like she fucking nailed it in this. I would love to see her in more stuff. Like she played like the, confident but pulled herself up by the bootstraps, kind of like corporate executive. Didn't come from money but worked her way there, but like, kind of unappreciated by the system. Like that was fun. Like that was
Yeah.
good to see. I mean, I don't know, the thing with the Big Nets is like you get a sense of what's going on in their lives, but like I don't know. Part of me wonders if this movie would have worked better as a show in some ways.
It's funny you say that. I was thinking almost that exact thing as I was driving over here. I was like, this movie feels like if it had more time. Like, usually this is the problem I have is it feels like TV shows, there's too much time, right?
Yeah.
With the way that, my gripe about TV shows now is that it's over budget and there's too much time. And it's like, well, you spend the same amount you would have made to make a movie. So why wouldn't you just make a movie for less time? Like, you now have, instead of 2 hours, you're at like 80 hours of content.
Yeah.
And there's too much bloat in there.
Mhm.
This feels like almost the reverse. That it's like, there's too much bloat in the movie. And I would have liked to have each person fleshed out because it feels like there wasn't a lot of fleshing certain characters out.
But there wasn't that kind of time for it.
Yeah.
I still think it works within the confines of a movie. It's just like, it's one of those things where, damn, like if this was a series, I mean, granted, you'd never get these kind of stars for that.
No, God, no.
I mean, even for a even for a limited series.
That everything is now. It's just the way
And-
TV
and,
is.
Well, they call it a limited series, and then it's like, oh,
It stays.
Actually, season 2, which is literally what they did with Task. Which,
It's a limited
really hope
season
they
2, though. Don't worry.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna limit myself from watching that shit. Is more like what it is. But no, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'd be interested to see what kind of this guy does. I mean, I think all the actors kind of like all the main actors really kind of showed different sides of themselves that I hadn't seen in a lot of their acting. which is
Yeah.
good. And Yeah, I mean, Barry Keoghan, I think, was like kind of almost the standout in that sense, aside from Chris Hemsworth. But like I said, if Chris Hemsworth hadn't done the performance he put in Furiosa, I think I maybe would have been a little more wowed by this. I mean, I still was, don't get me wrong, but like Barry Keoghan, give that man more psycho roles. Like he looks like a little goofer, but this is him with his blonde hair, like he was menacing. But yeah, no, I'd say overall, definitely a flick. It's still playing at Chunkies.
You know where to find us.
Yeah, so definitely come check it out. I mean, it was for us. It was between this and Send Help. We chose this first, but I think Send Help will be an interesting comparison because that's what we're planning on seeing next. Just to give you
I love Sam Raimi movies. They're like Evil Dead, all of it. I love all that.
no, so all the Spider-Mans.
Yeah.
Even 3.
Oh my god. Three holds a special place in my heart, but we can talk about that when we go see this next Sam Raimi movie. But just remind me, because I have a great story about Spider-Man 3.
I'll remind you. We'll definitely have to put some like retro episodes kind of into the equation at some point, which we have here and there. But we like to keep we like to keep our finger on the pulse
as much as we can.
I'd say overall as a flick, as far as flicks go, not the best one we've seen. I'm trying to think. What do you think's the best movie we've seen so far? It's hard to say.
It might be Caught Stealing.
Yeah,
honestly,
I think it's Caught Stealing.
Or Long Walk.
Actually, I just realized something when I was one final thought about this movie. It really reminded me of Fargo the TV show, but even Fargo the movie.
Yeah,
the vignettes combined. It was like kind of like this director's take on that kind of Tarantino Coen Brothers type of thing, and maybe that's why you and I kind of get taken out of it because we've seen so many movies of that style that like the bar is set so high.
Oh yeah.
When
you can't start up here, make something here.
But when you do waver, so like when it wavered, it was kind of like, oh man.
It's like Tarantino wouldn't have wavered there. That's okay though.
Yeah, well, Tarantino's been saying he was going to make his final movie for 1 billion years. Much like the limited series, he's still going. But yeah, no, I mean, we'll definitely see how this kind of pans out as far. But I'd say between probably the third best one we've seen. I'd give it Caught Stealing. Actually, it's hard. I don't know. Long Walk might be.
We'll need to do a whole episode going over some of the best and worst things we've seen. Yeah, that's coming up.
That's really the overall goal. I mean, once we hit like a full year of this, I think that's when we should. So look out for that. We'll definitely do like a extended episode. Maybe get Cam or someone else in the mix.
Yeah, always nice to have guests tell us that we're bad.
Yeah, tell us our take the movie's a complete dog shit. But anyways, yeah. So thank you for Chunkies for having us. Much appreciated per usual. Definitely check it out in Manchester. They're playing cornhole right outside right now. So definitely peep it. Plenty of events here all the time, but we'll catch you guys back here for Send Help. And any final thoughts, my friend?
No, I mean you can follow along on all the social media too of Flicks and Flops. We're on Instagram. I know you do the TikTok too. We're doing as much as we can, but we have the Instagram. We're obviously doing this stuff on YouTube too. So just following the journey and any recommendations, you can always reach out to us if you want us to talk about a movie.
Any comments? I mean, believe me, we're all about the feedback here.
Yeah.
Feedback, flicks, and flops. I'm not going to be able to sleep at night for how cheeky that was. What are you going to do? But anyways, joining us and catch you real soon.